You're listening to the Night Demon Network. Go to nightdemon.net/subscriber to unlock more exclusive content.
Hello and welcome to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. I'm your host Nesbit, and today we have part 2 of our interview with Steven Intermill, the director of the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic. We're going to jump right back into it. This is the Steven Intermill interview.
I guess all music is ritualistic in a way, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm sure that, like, when Night Demon plays, you probably have certain thoughts that go on in your head right when you go out.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's, if you don't do something correctly, there might be some superstitions.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, like, what's a superstition that you have? Do you have one?
Yeah, I've got a weird one.
Yeah.
I don't put shoes on tables.
Okay. Yeah.
Somebody told me when I was really young, I don't know why it stuck with me. It's bad luck to put your shoes on the table. Maybe somebody just didn't want me to do that.
Because they're walking around dog shit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's kind of when you think about what's on the bottom of your shoe, right? You know, it's like not even good to have them in your house if you think about it, right? That and I guess I don't know, maybe it's an OCD thing, but I don't like I count steps on the sidewalk in squares. Like I don't like to step on the crack, you know, right? Yeah. But other than that, I don't know, man. I got really into transcendental meditation years ago. Okay. And that's like really did change a lot for me. It's made me a lot more calm and really I think a lot more before I respond to people. So it actually causes my inner response to delay a little bit too, which is really nice, you know, because
not
you know,
continually being just like
right. Yeah. And especially, you know, we were talking earlier about, you know, people in the business, right? Yeah. It's like, I just want to tell that to everybody I told a guy the other day that I work with from the band. I was like, you know what, man? Like, before you reply to me, like in text, say like the full alphabet to yourself. Yeah. She's like, why? And I'm like, because, like, just do that. Yeah. Get your mind off what stupid thing you're going to say. You know what I mean? Right? What are your superstitions?
Oh, I mean, I have lots of them. It's just just come across the wrong thing. Don't put a hat on a bed. That's like
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like an old school. I was in Drugstore Cowboy.
Okay. It was? I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and after that, never going to put a hat on a bed. I don't know. There's thick of them, but like as far as like performance goes, it's you can't really talk to anyone for 20 minutes before you play.
Right.
So if you do, you're drawing their energy.
Right.
You.
Okay.
You can't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
There's when I light my candles, when I do shows where I have candles, I have to do in a very specific order,
Okay.
or else like the cosmos will go unhinged.
Okay. All right.
So a lot of internal stuff like that,
Right.
which is probably a bit, probably has some beginning roots in OCD behavior.
I think mine does too.
Yeah.
I think mine completely does. I used to have this thing of like evenness.
Yeah.
Like even like my photography teachers in college were like, man, everything is so square with you. Everything is so symmetrical all the time. Have you ever noticed that? And I was like, no, it just seems right to me. You know what I mean? If I walk by, so you have all these pictures on the wall, like the crooked ones, I'd have to straighten out as I walk by. Although I have a ton of this on my wall. And like I said, I think the TM helped because I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, when this exhibit first was put up, it was all very straight. But then,
that happens. Yeah.
After a period of time,
I mean, it doesn't look out of sorts at all.
When you do gallery style,
right?
It kind of embraces it's only crooked by a few degrees.
Yeah. Chaos.
But I'll see guests
chaos
come in.
to OCD.
I'll see guests come in and straighten things out.
Really? Okay, so that's
right. The internal inside my head is like, sup with that. Go around. But then I'm like, somebody had to do it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, it's not really a thing for me anymore. And I don't know. I could only attribute it to that because that's the only thing that I've done consistently, you know? So, what about music? Like, before you were, at some point in your life, right? You had to be kind of in the dark about who you were spiritually, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, was there
something like that?
But were there any bands or anything that kind of got you? Was music kind of a gateway to this at all?
Yeah. So when I was a teenager, I was absolutely obsessed with David Bowie, and David Bowie had a record called Live in Nassau. It was a bootleg. And the people that pressed this record, they didn't have enough music to fill up two sides of a record. So they used part of, you see that record up there in, it's like pink and purple?
The Louise Huebner record.
Yeah.
I love that record.
So they pressed one of the tracks from there onto this bootleg. My friend Derek came over to my house one day, and he did something and he was like apologizing for it. So he like made me a copy of this bootleg he had. And it was, it became an obsessive car tape. Whenever I drive around my car, it was like a tape that I would listen to all the time.
Right.
But Louise Huebner was in it. And I was listening to that, and it was this perfect blend of synthesizer,
right,
cosmic music, which sounds, like my band Telco Powers, if you listen to it, there's a direct sound, that comes from that record. And she's talking about witchcraft.
Yeah.
And just...
What is it? Power Through Witchcraft, right? Is that the album?
Seduction
Through Witchcraft.
Yeah.
What the book she had was Power Through Witchcraft, right? Yeah.
So...
it's crazy though. That's a crazy record because it's got all of the, the echo on her voice and it's almost Disney in a way.
Yeah.
It kind of has that that Wicked Witch kind of vibe to it. She's very good.
Yeah, it's a bit cartoonish.
Yeah,
something so compelling,
but it's very
so,
it really gets you, because I mean I've listened to, you could listen to, Earl Nightingale records or Neville Goddard or Anthony Norvell. There's a lot of these spoken word kind of records from back then that are pretty straight. This is definitely entertainment, but it's practical too. In the fact that she's actually giving you the ingredients and the methods for these spells, right?
Oh yeah.
Take one ironclad beetle, live, and wrap it into a small square of red silk. Place this small packet inside a tiny wooden box that has been painted bright red and is stuffed full with rosebuds. Seal the box with red sealing wax. Place the box and its contents into the northeast corner of your home. Light a purple tapered candle and chant 3 times. Coleopterus magnificent. Coleopterus blessed. Coleopterus eternal.
And then, of course, the Hour of the Witch right next to it there, the Gundela record.
I have not heard that.
It is, it's kind of a Midwest version of the Louise Huebner one. So, that's the record that I think.
Is that her on the cover?
Gundela,
Sorry, she kind of looks like Blavatsky a bit.
Yeah, she was just a Midwestern
or like a
school teacher.
Somebody who works at a bakery.
John Tenney was friends with her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, so, that Louise Huebner record just twisted my brain. And, I see a direct line from that. Because after that, I discovered, experimental music. And my friend John Geiger really helped with that. We went on a road trip to Athens University once to see our girlfriends. And he didn't have any of the tapes or anything, but he was just telling me about bands like Psychic TV and Throbbing Gristle and Nurse with Wound and Current 93. This whole English occult music scene. And when I got home from our trip, I went immediately to a place called My Generation. And anybody from Cleveland listening to this would know My Generation. It was a great record store. And, I went to Frank Shattered Records on Lorraine Road, and I got Temporary Temple by Psychic TV. And it was this weird tribal drum record with, weird tape loops and text on the back that was all about manifestation through magic. And after that, it was just, that was where it just took off.
That's pretty interesting. So you heard about stuff without hearing it.
Yeah.
You had that whole drive to think about it. You had God knows how many days after to think about it, right? Do you think some of that's lost on us now?
Yeah, you tell me about anything and I can immediately find it online.
Right.
And
is that good in your eyes?
It's got its good points, but it's also, what if he was like, oh yeah, this band's Robbie Gristle, you gotta check it out, pulls them up on Spotify, and I haven't even thought about this, and there's no myth in my head already, and I listen to it, I'm like, what's this guy going on about?
Have you ever had somebody try and show you something, and they end up showing you 5 things, and they've only showed you 10% of each of those 5 things in 5 minutes? That happens to me a lot. You know what I mean? Because you start talking about it, and then you're like, oh, but you got to check this out, right?
Yeah. Oh, this is the best. You got to check this out. Check this out. And then it's they get bored 20 seconds later. Mm-hmm. Yeah. People come in here and they want to share things sometimes, and sometimes they want to share a lot. And I'm like, all right, let's slow this down a little bit.
Right.
Because the cool thing about what I have gotten to do is I've become a strange attractor where really lucky that people come to me here and they bring all their ideas with them, you know? So it's like this place right here is just swirling with unique ideas that they come and tell me about, and their forms of spirituality and their types of magic. And I get to experience all of it by talking to them. So, I mean, how lucky is that? You get to travel the world, and you get to go to places. You know, I'm not in quite that position, but at least I have a place where people come.
Yeah, I
me,
mean,
you know.
well, that's kind of more. That's more convenient for you.
Maybe, but I mean, I also love to travel, and it's hard to love to travel when you run a tourist destination.
There is that, right? You know, there is that.
Always trying to figure out, like, look at stats over the years and see when the least amount of people come, and that's when you get to leave. And it always ends in heartbreak for somebody.
You know what, though, man? Like, honestly, I mean, besides other people doing it, I know, you know, I mean, here's one of, this is probably boring podcast talk, but like, you know, I'm not only in art, I'm in business. So are you know, and sometimes we set up businesses for ourselves where it's like, great, we're independent, you know, and people always say, yeah, I want to own my own business because I want to set my own hours. Well, you end up like it's every hour at that point, like, because you're only going to get out of it what you put in, right? But at the same time, you know, so a lot of times we set up businesses where the business is actually us, right? And so it's a good thought process to try and figure out, like, well, how do I, you know, how can this business reflect me without it having to actually be me 100% of the time, you know? And not that either of you or I are in the business of trying to sell our business, right? But if you were, like a lot of businesses do, a smart business, a startup or whatever, they're going to want to do something to sell to a bigger company eventually, right? Not that we're trying to do that, either you or I. But one of the key principles in that is like another business is not going to buy your business if you are the business, because they want, once they pay you, they can't trust that you're going to be there with the same passion to run it, right? But, you know, I don't know. I think like sometimes exclusivity works too. So even seasonal or like maybe a month off of the museum makes people go, oh crap, you know what I mean? Like, like, so it's just throwing stuff out there. It's not impossible. You know?
Well, I look at what Simon at the Museum of Witchcraft in Cornwall, they close from I think it's pretty much from Samhain to Beltane. So that's half the year.
Mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And you have a more brutal winter in that time. You know?
Yeah, but they just don't get any tourists whatsoever.
Right.
Where, you know, we get tourists all year round.
That is true.
For the Rock Hall, for the Cleveland Clinic, people go.
Right. So. It's pretty interesting how we build these lives like this, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you don't want to become a prisoner of your own design. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really, and I get burnt out too, man. I mean, even like traveling all the time and even like, being able to make my own schedule or whatever, there's still certain things in my business that are daily that cannot not happen, you know, even on a Sunday or whatever. Like they're always there. And you just sometimes want to, you know, when you put life into perspective and you're like, well, in 100 years, like, you know, I don't know, is anybody going to remember me or this or care, you know? And it's just like, what the fuck does it all mean, you know? But that's,
what's important right now is just doing your thing, you know?
No, it is.
Because, I mean, there's weakness deep in my heart where I'll think to myself, this doesn't matter. Nobody's going to remember this 100 years from now. Yeah. Hopefully, you know.
Well, you're carrying on stuff from 100 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know? Right? So.
But, you know, what's really matters is like now and next week, you know.
No, I get it. Yeah, right. What's right in front of you, you know? I mean, you've got Crowley stuff in here that's 100 years old, right? You know,
yeah, we got Crowley stuff in here. I mean, Gerald Gardner things. Ray, when he started this museum, that was 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was in 1966. So, yeah.
What do you feel about the Satanic Panic? Is it over? Is it back? Is it here? Like, what is there? Is there a kind of?
I mean, there's people out there that think it's a good idea to start certain wars so they can create the apocalypse, so they could, like,
right.
There's,
but I'm seeing a lot of. I'm seeing a lot of, like, when we talk about it, like, in our lifetimes or in our generations, in the in the 20th century, where you talk about it. Coming up in the 60s in culture, and then through the 70s, and then in the 80s and late 80s, early 90s, like really hit a peak of just like complete craziness, right?
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like in the information age, there's a lot of influencers that are calling out a lot of cult symbolism in pop music and stuff, and like they're really dead set on and I laugh at it a little bit, but I mean, these people have extreme influence on
I used to worry about that quite a bit, and then I just realized that I was probably just developing a condition of one or another, and then I quit worrying about it. There's as far as all the dangerous people that start thinking, Satanic Panic stuff, there's also thousands of other people that are seeing a new way of seeing the world and seeing spirit around them. So, that's the thing about the information age. Is it does good and bad at the same time. So, there's new witches being created every day.
That's true, man. And like people are using so much of their power in a positive or negative way, and so many people don't realize it. And that's why I would love, I don't see posers at all. Like when people get into any kind of alternative spirituality, because I welcome that. Everybody to have that freedom to just to decide kind of what they're into, without joining a cult or being, in being judged for.
I hear this term a lot, baby witch.
Okay.
You don't quite hear it as much anymore, but it's just like people learning a little bit about witchcraft, learning some cool, like, new techniques and whatnot. And people say things to me like, kind of like maybe they're embarrassed. They're like, oh, I consider myself a baby witch. And all they're really telling me is they're just getting started, right? But then I feel like maybe they're a little embarrassed. Oh, I'm calling myself a baby witch. Where, embrace it,
I think that's cool.
You're the fool card in the tarot.
Yeah, right.
You're like stepping out there into a whole new world.
I mean, I think it's pretty awesome that somebody would even admit that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because these days it's hard for people to admit that it's a sign of weakness almost, that like, you don't know what you're talking about or whatever,
it's, sometimes people come in here and try to test my knowledge on things. And a lot of times I just go, oh, okay, cool, tell me more,
Yeah,
And sometimes I'll actually learn things from people, but sometimes it just feels, the occult is a huge, wide variety, a giant swath of different micro systems and ideas, where you're not going to meet anybody that knows all of it. But, it's good to engage and learn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there any misconceptions about witchcraft that you would like to dispel, or you're tired of, or things that you're tired of having to dispel?
Well, it kind of goes back to where I was saying that, like, the jerks stay outside. A lot of that was solidified because there's a thing that happens here in this neighborhood where people go door to door to businesses. And last year, there were people that wouldn't walk into my business because they were like, ooh. And these were fringe people, I guess, or not fringe to me, but fringe in an outside world view.
So then that makes you super fringe, or what?
Well, it just bummed me out because I thought, I have zero interest in persecuting you or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that you're here and you won't walk into my place. So I guess the idea of malevolence, it's I've met mean witches, sure. But I've met mean Christians, too. And probably more mean Christians than I have mean witches.
Yeah.
I've met some of the most open-hearted, kindest, gentlest people involved with witchcraft. And I have also met similar ones in Christian circles. So guess what? People are people.
Yeah.
And I guess the idea that you must be into this sort of thing because you're into being malevolent is, that bums me out.
It is interesting. Like obviously, the imagery of witchcraft is what I'm attracted to it, right?
It's badass.
It's badass. But it's kind of funny because a lot of organized religion around the world, they're the ones that hold a lot of public power, I would say, right? And control a lot of things and have been proven to have committed many more atrocities, than anybody in witchcraft.
Yeah.
I wonder, it's kind of funny, has that anybody ever tried to, flip the imagery around? You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's it's almost like we're shooting our own self in the foot in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would not look. I don't want to start dressing like a square. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's almost like that's what it would take to show maybe some of what this really is. You know what I mean? And
well, Ray. Our founder, Ray Buckland, if you see old videos of him on, I think he was on Jenny Jones.
He was it Jenny Jones? Either Donahue?
Yeah.
Maybe Donahue?
Yeah,
Phil Donahue.
One of those, he'd always wear suits.
Yeah.
He'd always wear a tie because he didn't want to look outrageous and wild.
Right.
He wanted to be this is a legit spiritual path. Y'all are welcome.
Right.
You don't have to look like, the Wicked Witch of the West. Mm-hmm. But, so.
Yeah, it's just, I just think about that sometimes, because it's I think there is real evil out there that masks itself as as the very welcoming, nice, and it's just crazy, or they're just crazy people. I think crazy people turn evil. You know what I mean? I don't even know if they know it, but there's just a lot of wackiness out there. But I grew up in a Christian school, and it was horrible. And so them telling me and that was in the height of the Satanic Panic, and they were telling me, to stay away from this, and all it did was just draw me closer to it, and it saved my life, so.
Yeah.
But, cool. Look, I am super stoked to have you to speak with you like this, because I want more people to know about this place, and I want more people to kind of actually explore what a lot of this stuff is really about, because there's so many different paths to it, and they're free and they're independent, and they're actually quite enlightening and uplifting.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of our listeners are into evil shit, evil imagery, but I don't think any of them are into actual evil shit. You know what I mean?
When I go to metal shows, I usually meet really nice people.
Yeah, right.
That look terrifying.
Right.
Yeah.
So last question.
Yeah.
For someone totally new but interested in magic, who or what would you recommend that they check out?
I guess it depends on what they're drawn to, but I would skip. Actually, I don't know if I would skip if I was that generation. Maybe check out TikTok if you're a kid and just kind of scroll around. But take it for granted that there's absolutely zero gatekeeping in TikTok, so sometimes some bad information gets out there. But I am of the fair belief that bad information is helpful because you play around with it, it doesn't work, and then you figure that one out and you move on to the next thing, right? It's, none of it's too dangerous. But, I, of course, being the director of the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft, Ray's Complete Book of Witchcraft is a classic book on this sort of thing. I think it's a really great foundational text.
I think it's a great book, too. Yeah. There's audio versions out there, too.
The audio
There's
great.
The companion, the spell book, that actually has a lot of really practical things that you can practice, which is really awesome. But I think it's cool, and I think it's cool that you're carrying on, his legacy here too, along with a lot of other stuff, But
in Jarvis, we spoke a lot about me, but I couldn't do it without my partner in the museum, Tony. And Tony is she's incredible. She does all sorts of other things, and her big thing is really working with animals, and it really helps me get a perspective of kind of like a witch's worldview talking to her, because there's certain spiritual paths that feel like animals are like not to the same level as a human being, and that's obviously not true. So I don't know, I'm going on this tangent right here, but shout out to Tony, and shout out to you, Jarvis.
Hey, thanks, man.
Because you're a perfect example of what I love about this place. You and Laura rolled in. I was like, check out these two. These guys rule. And, now we've been friends. I'm sure we'll be friends for years.
Oh, yeah.
And, thanks for coming in here that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Strange things are afoot here today at the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magick in Cleveland, Ohio. And I wouldn't have it any other way, right? So, all the best, and looking forward to seeing what happens next.
Well, that's it for this week. That was a pretty cool interview with a pretty interesting guy. The Buckland Museum of Witchcraft, Cleveland, Ohio. If you're in the area, check it out. Tell them you heard about it from the podcast. I'll also mention, as always, nightdemon.net for all things Night Demon, including how to become a Night Demon subscriber. More info on the website. Until next time, this is Nesbitt signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. Head over to nightdemon.net, click on the subscriber tab, and sign up to access exclusive weekly bonus content. If you would like to donate to support the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, you can do so through PayPal at paypal.me/nightdemonmetal. Additionally, if you have not already done so, please subscribe, like, rate, and review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All hail, Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. This is Dusty Squires chiming in to tell you about my brand new signature sticks from the London Drumstick Company. I've dreamt of having my very own drumsticks ever since I was a wee lad, and LDC made that a possibility for me. Founded in 2016 in London, England, the birthplace of heavy metal, the London Drumstick Company has trailblazed a path through the music industry and taken the drummer world by storm. When I met them for the first time, they knew their product was going to withstand the beatings of a Night Demon show. They took the time to work with me on getting everything just right. The balance and weight of my sticks are the same no matter what, and the durability is bar none the best I've ever had. I know my sticks will last through the set night after night. I'm truly honored to work with a company that caters to their players the way LDC does. Their innovation and attention to detail is what separates them from the rest of the stick makers out there. Their custom stick sleeves are unbelievable and really make the entire presentation complete. Wait until you see the design they came up with for me. It blew my mind and was a surprise to say the least. They have all kinds of amazing swag, including hoodies, t-shirts, drummer shorts, drum keys, stick bags, towels, face masks, practice pads, and much, much more. Even if you're not a drummer, you can be a part of Demon history and order my brand new signature sticks direct from their website. How cool is that? And to top it off, the London Drumstick Company are giving an exclusive offer to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. Go to londondrumsticks.co.uk and receive a 15% store-wide discount using promo code DEMONSTICKS. All capital letters, no spaces, Demon Sticks. DEMONSTICKS. I can't thank everyone there enough for the opportunity to be a part of their family and for them trusting me with their amazing products. See you metal maniacs on the road very soon. And yes, the wood chips will be flying.
Greetings, boils and ghouls. This is your comrade, the Crypt Keeper here, reporting dead from the sanctuary of the strange. Tonight's macabre myth is a fright-filled feature, one overflowing with monsters, madness, and magic.
Visit our website at monstersmadnessandmagic.com to stay up to date on all the dark dealings within the sanctuary of the strange. Enjoy the show.
Hey Metalheads, I'm Mark and I host the Metal Forge. Let me tell you about the show. The Metal Forge features the best underground metal from all over the world. We spend every week with a different artist with interviews, in-depth conversations, and most of all, the music. We also feature audience interactivity where you can submit your questions to the upcoming guests. New episodes are out every Friday at noon Eastern Time at metalforgeradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking Podcast, a non-genre based, all-ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Okay, metalheads, you've been complaining that there has not been a channel that plays all of the heavy metal videos from past, present, and future for years and years at this point. Well, that time is over. Heavy Metal Television is back. HeavyMetalTelevision.net is the website. Go there. You can see videos playing 24/7, 365, all the time, all the best from the old school, the new school, and everything in between. Check it out, HeavyMetalTelevision.net. It is where the metal is.